Hi, it's Mark. What should I talk about today? That's a question I now ask myself every day. And it's a new challenge because it's only recently that I've been recording something to post online like this recording. Yet it's not new to me because for many years, I think 18 and a half at recent count, I've been writing every morning, and that challenge of what should I write about today has been a problem at times, less so in recent years, but earlier on it was, well, what am I going to write about today? What's on my mind, or what message would I want to convey to the world? I remember, in fact, one morning going for my morning walk for nearly an hour in fairly chilly temperatures, and arriving back at the building I was living in at the time, realized that I didn't have anything in my mind to write about. I just felt bereft of ideas and a little frightened that I was then going to have to sit at the keyboard and write nothing, or write to people who are on my subscriber list saying, I have nothing to say today. But I felt I couldn't do that. So I went for another half-hour walk, did another loop around the neighborhood, and came back with that same feeling. Just, I was empty-headed. Went up the elevator to my apartment, turned on the coffee maker, took off my coat, got ready with a freshly brewed cup of coffee to sit down at my keyboard and write my admission or my confession that I had nothing to say. But of course, you can guess what happened. I sat down and my fingers moved on the keys, and I wrote a column that day. And that was very important. Not that I necessarily wrote brilliance that day, but I restored in myself the confidence that I always had something to say. And in recent days, when I've begun recording a message every day with the objective in mind that mentor Darren has planted of talk for 17 minutes a day, every day. And clearly I haven't done that. In the last week, I think one day I did 43 minutes, but the rest have been much shorter than that, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes. And one day it ended up being almost 17 minutes on the nose. So it's a new exercise for me. Like for any of us, we try a new sport or a new activity, we haven't got into a routine of how to. And until we get into a routine of how to, we have to rely on something else called must do. If we determine that we must do some exercise every day, we will exercise every day. But if we don't have that commitment that I must do this every day, then we'll excuse ourselves. Not today, not today. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll pick it up again in a couple of days. And I've often talked to people about their writing, or who've been asking me to coach them in their writing, whether they're bloggers or whether they're working on a book, whatever. It's so, no, you need to do it every day, because every day makes it part of your routine, part of your practice, and you do it. And letting yourself off the hook, saying, oh, I'm committed to this, except I'm not going to do it today, is not so much a lazy practice or a time management practice, because you could do it, just do it for a shorter period of time. It's the habit of doing something every day. Yeah. If I look around my world and talk to people, I'll talk to all kinds of people who have different lifestyles, different work styles than I do. But if I scratch the surface and have a conversation with them, they will admit that they have habits in their lives. And I'm not talking about the basic ones. If they get up in the morning, they go to the bathroom, they brush their teeth, they have breakfast. Not those kinds of habits, but work habits. Habits about the body and the mind working and continuing to work and be effective. We all have routines that we get into. So the challenge for me in this new practice of talking to a screen every day, having a message to the world every day, is a two-part one. What do I talk about? And how do I keep myself on track to do it religiously? And I don't want to use the word religious because I'm not a religious person, but to do it with a commitment that is unwavering. And I'm not sure yet with my schedule where I can make a commitment to do it every morning or at noon or at night. I have to do it when I have some time or can make some time, and I need to do it when I'm not exhausted or in the middle of a meeting or something else on my calendar to do with my work or my personal life where I've got commitments. So I need to fit it in. So the challenge is not just to do it every day and to have a routine, but to fit something in that previously didn't have a place to go. Which takes me to this morning. I had breakfast with a friend named Ralph. And I won't tell you any more about Ralph because that's Ralph's business, and I don't have the authority to talk more about that. I don't have his permission. But in the course of our discussion, he asked me, because he's been noticing I've been doing some things recently that are new. And how could I possibly fit them in? Like, how do I keep fitting new things into my schedule when there are only 24 hours in the day? And I've often wondered about that myself, because I don't always formally decide, okay, I'm going to add something that adds an hour to my day or 15 minutes to my day. What is it that has to come off my list? Or do I just shortchange myself on sleep time or exercise time? I think that's something we all tend to do, is what the time we steal is not from the boring meeting. We don't steal time from our wasted time in front of a TV set. No, we steal our time from mealtime. We steal our time from family time. We steal our time from the time that we want to do things we're passionate about. We steal from our sleep time. And then, of course, people feel they don't spend enough time sleeping or with their families or with other things that are really important in their lives. But if we all made a list of all the things that are on our schedule every day, the things we need to do or want to do, that we need to be reminded of, or things we just through habit do automatically, we don't need to write them down or make a list, we just do them. Whereas in fact, if we did the practice of recording those, we'd find out how many things we do in a day. So here's the challenge. If you add a new thing that's going to be a new project or a fresh idea, an invigorating project, something that adds value to your life or adds value to other people's lives, where's the time come from? Where do you get the time? Mentor Darren says, do 17 minutes a day, but work up to an hour. No, of course, Darren is coaching people like me who are public speakers who have been getting rusty because we haven't been on a stage throughout the pandemic. And that's good coaching. But the subliminal message in all of this is, if I'm committing to you, the screen in front of me, the camera in front of me, I'm seeing myself on a screen while I'm doing this because I'm recording from the camera on the top of my laptop screen every day. Who am I doing that for? I'm doing it for me. I'm deriving a benefit from it. I'm doing something that I feel is valuable for me, but nobody's going to watch it. Nobody's going to watch another talk and another talk and another talk if I'm not adding value. If I give a talk tomorrow that's a duplicate of this one, then anybody who's checking them out and watching them on a regular basis, well, this is boring. He's just repeating himself. And I may repeat myself from time to time. But if my writing has taught me anything, it's that there's always something fresh to talk about. There's always something new that needs to be said. There's something new that can be said because it can be said in a different way. So if your objective is to practice your speaking skills or presenting skills on a screen, that's really good. But what are you doing it for? Who are you doing it for? In my mind, when I say that, goes to a presentation I watched the other day. Somebody was coaching people on how they could make money, sort of take their fledgling business idea and wrap it up and put it online and do a bunch of clever things to suddenly be making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year from what they're doing, which is a bit of hype and a result that will be achieved by very few people. Not because they're not talented or hardworking, but because they don't stick with it. But also that, this guy's selling his services, so he wants to make it sound like it's easy for him to teach you to do something that looks difficult for you. But he did have a key element in this that was a takeaway. And that is, what are you good at already? What are you good at already that you don't need to go learn, but that you can teach and offer to the world, that somebody will say, I want to hire you. I want to engage your services to help me with that thing that you're good at, that you know how to do. Well, that's an interesting question for me. I know how to do a lot of things, and I know how to do a lot of things well. And there are things I do because I love doing them. And there are things I do because I need to do them. I have found a way to make a living doing them. And most of us are like that, aren't we? We aren't necessarily doing all the things we're passionate about. We're passionate about making a living. We're passionate about having a successful business or professional practice. We want to earn a buck from our efforts doing something we're really good at. But once you get past that, or if you would imagine if you waved your magic wand and the lottery gods gave you a big win tomorrow and suddenly you didn't have to work at anything. If no one paid you and it didn't matter, you didn't need the money, what would you do with your time, with your talent, with your energy? What would you do for yourself? What would you do for friends, family? What would you do for the world? Now, the quick, easy answer is, well, I would be generous. I would help other people with my newfound wealth. Yeah, sure. We all want to be kind and generous and support charities and look out for our families and our friends and ourselves. But take that aside. There's a world out there that we're here for a brief time in this world. We don't have a long time. We should be here for a good time, but not for I want to be a leech on society and just benefit without any giving. I'm reminded of a book that I read called The Go-Giver. I was given a copy in a course I took, and I liked the book so much, I kept buying them by the dozen and giving them away to people. And no one's ever come back and knocked on my door and said, hey, I'm really glad you gave me this book. But it was a book that was of great value to me, and I'm pretty sure it's been of great value to others. And it was a fictional book, but it was to help one get one's head on tight about selling and selling your services in terms of if you're going to derive benefit from a life in sales or business or anything, it will be in direct proportion to what you gave. Did you give somebody freely of yourself? Did you give value to someone else? Did you give support and kindness and caring and generosity to someone for which you then became the one who got rewarded, that should be the kind of motivation. I vacillate. I mean, some days I'm a greedy bugger. I want to just do something and go hard and make the money. And in that respect, I think I'm on the same page as those who go to work and want a raise in their pay, and they work hard and they get paid and get rewarded. And I think for a lot of people who work in their own enterprises or in a commission environment, you want to work hard, because working hard and producing results and sales translates to volume, translates to commissions, that's income and lifestyle, and that's how we sustain ourselves. But then that begs the question of, how do you define sustaining yourself? Sustaining isn't about food on the table and a roof over your head. Well, it certainly includes those things, and we all need them. But sustaining ourselves is a mental health thing, isn't it? Sustaining ourselves is a self-worth thing, how we feel about ourselves, what we believe we have to give to the world. I give words to the world. I'm a writer. I'd like to be a better writer, and I think one of the paths to writing better is writing more and more often and improving my skill in that discipline so that I can convey a message not to get someone to believe what I believe, but to change what they believe. And I need to do that in my public speaking as well. I'm going to wrap this up shortly. What I'd like to leave you with today is that whether you're writing or speaking or walking down the street, interacting with your neighbors in your community, there are things you care about. And the things you care about are different than the things I care about specifically. I mean, we have general things. We want clean air and clean water and a safe place to live. Of course, we all want that. But there are things out there that are problems that need fixing, causes that need supporting, issues that need to be brought to the better attention of those who can make change. So I'll leave you with this. What is the problem you're trying to solve? And are you conveying a message to the world to change how the world sees that problem so that you can draw attention of people who can lend a hand and help achieve what you want to achieve? Achieving a good living is nice. Achieving wealth is nicer, perhaps, but achieving value, well, value doesn't have a dollar sign attached to it all the time, does it? Value means I feel better. Value means I feel validated and more worthwhile. Value is when I help someone feel better. I help someone do something better. I help someone see a problem through a different lens that they can more effectively deal with that issue in their lives. Signing off for now, it's Mark Kolke. Have a good day. Thank you.